Welcome to Prep Rally, brought to you by arpreps.com. I'm your host, Vernon Tarver with the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. It's your recap edition here on Tuesday, looking back at week 3 of the high school football season on this edition, and some big games that went that way in week 3. You got Rogers, the Mounties. Who would have guessed this team is 3-0 going into conference play, but that's what we've got. St. Louis Normandy came to town. 35-7, the Mounties get it done over St. Louis Normandy. Coach Mike Loyd talked about his team getting it done. Tailback Jeff Brain, Colin McWhorter, and the team offensively got out to a big start. And here's Coach Loyd giving us a recap of Friday night's win.
It is. We talked about our kids, keeping some momentum and practice habit of winning, and that's going out there finding reasons why you can win. And I think they did that. They did a good job taking care of business, and that's good for the kids to go 3-0. Can't get any better than that.
You feel like defensively also, they didn't do a lot.
No, they didn't. I thought they'd spread it out and throw it all over the yard, actually, because that number one could throw it. And I was kind of surprised they went some too tight and tried to go off tackle. But, they probably trying to do what they think they can do. But I thought they'd throw it about 40, 50 times, to be honest with you.
Just to get out here and get 3-0, to kind of get some momentum. What's that like for these kids?
Well, these kids, you can see the excitement in their eyes, and that's why you do this. They're starting to believe in themselves. Now we play the number one team in the state next week, but again, they're 3-0, and they've earned those wins, and that's good. Especially they won 2 games last year, or 1 last year and 2 the year before. So to go 3-0 is an accomplishment for them, especially our seniors.
You also had a couple of big games on the road in the 7A West. Jenks, Oklahoma, and Har-Ber. This was a big showdown we were looking forward to, and Har-Ber was definitely up to the challenge for a half, up 14-10, and then you had a Jenks team that just really put the pressure on them, made the big plays, had a big third quarter, and final 44-22, Jenks, Oklahoma hands Har-Ber their first loss. Coach Chris Wood talked to us about the big game and about the result after the game.
Because it's Jenks. They won a lot of games on this field. There's a reason they're nationally ranked. There's a reason they've won so many state championships in a row. And, we were real close. It's just, second possession, get it midfield, 4th down. That's on me. That ain't on the kids. Should have punted that away, made them drive down. But, I wanted to take a chance. I trust my defense. I trust my offense. It just, you rolled the dice, and I was wrong on that.
What did they do anything differently in the second half?
No, they stayed to the scheme. They pinched a little bit inside. I thought their pass rush was really effective. They made it. They forced our hand on just having to really try to grind it out. And when you do that, you've got to be very clean in execution piece. But no, they got after us, and we won some. They won more than we won, and that's how it goes tonight.
Fable, they go to Dallas, play Dallas Bishop Dunn, another big matchup, and they rally late in the 4th quarter and get a 35-25 win against one of the top private schools in the state of Texas. So Fable will be 3-0 going to conference play. Some people expected that. Some weren't too sure after this last win. You had Springdale with a 24-17 loss to Russellville. That was another one. Springdale surprised people with their first 2 games. They had a really tough schedule the first non-conference season, all 3 weeks. Got through the first 2, then some turnovers, and Russellville's just a tough team. Rogers Heritage is another team that's just trying to rebuild a really tough schedule that's going to help them as they move on. But they hosted. You had them going up against Fort Smith Southside, and they dropped to 0-3. But Tony Travis goes with a new young quarterback, and you see some improvement here out of these War Eagles. Tony Travis sat down with us, talked about the game, and let's hear from Coach.
Tony, do you feel like you guys took a little step forward tonight?
I do.
I know offensive line last week had struggles. Tonight seemed like they did a lot better. So
and Southside's a solid football team too. Don't let the record deceive you. They've played number 1 team in the state, 7A number 1 team in the state, and 6A, and I felt like we played with those guys, and people are going to probably snicker a little bit when you look at the score and what I just said. But that's what I just talked to our guys about. I'm seeing things on the field tonight that we can build on. Some good things, some individual improvement, and guys playing together that are making our team better. And first half last week, we didn't get that. And tonight, I thought we played well for 4 quarters, and we had too many self-inflicted wounds again. But I'm proud of the effort. I'm proud of the fact that we never gave in, and I don't think this group will. And one disappointment that I had, we got to let our emotions get a hold of us a little bit and had a couple of penalties that hurt us, and we talked about it. I don't want to be that team that can't control themselves, and when they look up at the scoreboard and they don't like what they see, that they're going to get penalties about it. We're not going to be that team. So, we'll address that part of it and move forward.
In other conferences, in the 4A1, but it also affected the 5A West, a big showdown between Pea Ridge and Farmington. A lot of turnovers. Pea Ridge gave Farmington a lot of chances in this game, but their defense is tough, and they held them off 13-7. Pea Ridge, they're 3-0. That 4A1 conference has a lot of teams that can make noise at state. You've got Pea Ridge. You've got Prairie Grove. Prairie Grove 53-0 win over West Fork, as Isaac Disney has nearly 100 yards receiving. He has a pick six. One of the top, individual performances we saw out of last week. They're 3-0. You've got Shiloh Christian, a 3-0 team that made a lot of noise down at Little Rock against Little Rock Christian last week, and they get a 48-19 win over Pottsville back at home this week. Coach Jeff Conaway talked about that victory with us, and let's hear from Coach right now.
3 and outs, lots of big stops. It is a challenge to play a dead team formation like that, but you guys really shut it down.
We did. I thought we played well up front. We challenged our defensive linemen to be extremely aggressive up front and make tackles for loss. And our D-line and LBs did a pretty good job of just destructing their rhythm. I thought we did a great job on that side of the football.
And you didn't have to pass it as much tonight on offense. I think you only threw like 12 or 13 passes. I know you get tired of bragging about Connor every night, but he hit some big plays there.
He did. He made some big throws for us. And the one in the first quarter to get our first score was a big one. We needed that at that moment. And very consistent tonight. I don't know exactly what his completion percentage was, but he took care of the football fairly well. We had one early that we wish we would have had back, but did a good job.
Another Class 4A and Class 3A action from Friday. You had Elkins, a 46-14 winner over Huntsville. Elkins is really looking strong going into conference play in the 3A1 conference. They had that season opening loss against Shiloh Christian, and now they've really been impressive, scoring over 100 points combined in their last 2 games, so they're a team to look out for. And before we go today on Prep Rally, we definitely want to give a shout out to some local cross-country teams over the weekend at the Missouri Southern Stampede. You had the Bentonville girls win the Missouri Southern Stampede. The Fayetteville girls finished second, and on the boys' side, the Fayetteville boys finished second, and Purple Bulldog Cameron Fisher, a sophomore, finished second overall at that event. So we've got cross-country gearing up. We'll be looking forward to the Chili Pepper and the state meets here coming up over the next month. So that's your recap edition of Prep Rally. Be sure and check it out on arpreps.com, and we'll see you again with another edition Friday.